Hello, and welcome to another one of my recordings. Through this recording, I'd like to cover some basic concepts of Python. And I know some of you may be having some issues with Python, especially input-output of the decision statement, the if statement, and maybe even the loop statements. Some of you may have already seen this chapter 3 miscellaneous work that I put on Canvas for you. So what I want to do is just go through the first two questions here and just write it in Python for you. Again, some of you may already be done with this, so I hope this is helpful. All right, write a program in Raptor and Python. So of course I'll just use Python right now. And um, essentially, it is telling me to use a decision statement, which is our if statement, to ask the user for a number. Okay, well, as soon as I see this requirement, ask the user for a number, I'm going to go ahead. I have Python already on my taskbar pinned to it, so hopefully you guys already know how to do this, to bring up Python. I'm going to do File, New File, and right here, I want to start my code. So num equals input. Give me a number. Okay, that's just your prompt. And remember from previous work that the input state function will return back a string. I need to convert it to an integer or a whole number. So that's how we do input in Python. Num is equal to whatever the user inputs at the keyboard. Okay, so I just answered this question. Display if the number is even for a number, and display, I'm sorry, this should read display even if the number, display number if it's even or odd. So essentially all we have to do is we have to check to see if this number is even, we'll display even, otherwise we'll display odd. So let's just go back to our Python code. I was right there. And the modulus operator is ideal to be used here. So we say if, notice the keyword if is color coded, so we know it's a reserved keyword. So if num %2, remember this is our modulus operator, equals 0. Remember that Python uses two equals to check for equality. And don't forget this colon at the end of the if statement. Press enter, it tabs it for you, that indents the code for you. That's how you know um, um, that the block within this if is going to be executed. Okay, so all I wanted to do here is print even. Well, maybe I'll even say num, so it's going to replace, have the num and then is even. That's it. So because remember, any number divided by 2, if it's even, it won't leave a remainder, so the remainder would be 0. And else, now for else, I have to backspace, go back to else, don't forget that. And then say print, well, I guess I could just copy paste because these two are really the same. It's just a different message. So print the num is odd. That's it. So I'm going to go ahead and save this file. Again, I will provide this for you. I usually like to save my files somewhere other than the Python folder. So I'm just going to, right now, because I don't want to take up too much time, I'm just going to put it in here and call this maybe Python if example. Again, I may change the name of this function file a little bit later. Okay, so let's run this thing. And it says give me a number. I guess I misspelled that, but that's okay. So I'm going to give it 12, and 12 is even. So since I know what I just did, I guess I go in here and say give me a number. Of course, this prompt doesn't make any difference. It's just whatever is displayed to the user. So as far as errors, we're not going to get any errors. I'm going to give it 9, and 9 better come out as odd. Notice that Python looks and sees what is 9% 2? Well, it's going to equal to 1, and 1 is not equal to 0, so the condition fails. So we go to this else condition, and we have this going. Okay, well, I think what I'm going to do is just do this. So I think, are we done with this? Modulus operator to decide if the number is divisible by 2. Yep, we're done. Okay, let me just do the second one here. write a program that uses a series of decision statements. Again, I want to accept a user's test score and then assign letter grade according to this table. And this is ideal. Rank checking is ideal to be done with an if statement. You want to check to see if a condition is satisfied. In this case, if the test score is between 90 and 100, I'll assign a grade of A. Okay, so we'll go over here. And I think I told you this before, or you should know this. I can highlight all of these, go to format and comment it out so that they won't be in my way. I don't want it to keep repeating. So I'm going to control C that. Since I'm here, I may as well just do this like Q1. And then I go here to a pound. I can just type a pound symbol or a hashtag symbol, essentially comments any lines that follow it. Okay, so because it's input, it's the same thing. I'm just going to change this to something more descriptive, like test, and ask to give me a test score. Now, of course, test scores could be numbers like 80.5, or they could be floating point numbers. So I'll just use my float function to convert the number to float. All right, if test is greater than or equal to 90 and test is less than or equal 100. There, that's all it takes to identify the range of numbers. After all, this is what it's saying. If the test score is between 90 and 100. So notice if test score was 80, let's say, is 80 greater than or equal to 90? The answer is no. And then because this is false, false, and anything that follows it always be false. And of course, we don't get an A. All right, so if this is true, I'm going to say grade is equal to A. Okay, so there, I just assigned the grade to A. Again, grade is just a variable that I created. So then the next thing would be, now here's I could do this. I could just repeat the same process. Let's copy that and just do this and say if grade is greater than 80, actually greater than or equal to 80. We already took care of the 90 in the first tab here, and it will be less than 90. There. And then grade is going to be equal to B. Now, the only problem with this is, let's say my score was, test score was 92. Well, 92 between 90 and 100? The answer is yes. So I get a grade of A. And then what Python is going to do is it sees another if statement. And of course, it's going to be false because 92 true is bigger than 80, but it's not less than 90, so this condition fails. So what will happen is that I keep making a whole bunch of comparisons that aren't really needed. So what we do, instead of using another if, we use this elif, which essentially means else if. So if this is true, you do this. Otherwise, if this is true, you do this. Now I think you get the picture, because all I have to do is repeat this process. And I'm just going to peek over here because we're going to take care of A, B, C, D. And then between 0 and 59, we'll do F. And then anything else is grade is going to be Z. So we'll keep that in mind. So B, so pretty easy. You go in here, change this to 70. Change this to 80. And I already have the thing in my buffer, so I'll just do that. A, B, C, D, and then I think the next one was an F. So let's take care of D. Of course, to get a D, I have to say if it's greater than or equal to 60 and less than 70. And then we say to get an F, it has to be bigger than 0 and less than 59. So greater than or equal to 0 and less than 59. And grade is equal to F. Now, if it's anything else, if it's not none of these conditions, then we have this else clause, in which we say, well, anything else is going to have a grade equal to Z. There, I think I just satisfied the requirement of this program, or this problem. And that's it. That's all we have to do is, well, I guess what helps is that I go here and I have to say print your grade is, I always misspell grade, your grade is, comma, grade. So all we need to do is test this program. And of course, to test it, I can just press F5 and make sure you save the file. And I get an error message. Well, I did this intentionally so you could see these errors. So what did I do? Obviously, it's telling me this is where the error is. I'm going to press OK. And of course, you guessed it, I'm missing a colon after that. So we do it again. We press OK. So give me a test score. Let's give it 83. Okay, we know 83 is going to fail this condition, but it's going to actually go through this condition, so it's going to give me a B, hopefully. So when I press enter, it says your grade is B. Let's run it again. And of course, you want to make sure your test cases go through every one of these. So let's give it, just for the sake of arguments, let's give it 102. So where's it going to go? It's going to fail all of these if statements, and it's going to go to this else clause. So if I put 103, I expect my grade to be Z. And sure enough, it is. Okay, so this is the answer to question 2. Now, since we're here, I want to switch to this. I also gave you another, I call it in-class work, but this is really miscellaneous work that we put up on Canvas for you. So if I go to chapters 4 and 5, I just want to do a loop also, so that way if you haven't seen a loop in action in Python, you can see it. This says write a loop to display the numbers 1 through 5 with increments of 1. Now, a loop, essentially, a while loop is what we could use here. Oh, by the way, I'm just going to highlight all of these, go over to format, and comment it out so it doesn't bother me. By the way, when you guys get this file downloaded from Canvas, all you have to do is just highlight, uncomment, and then test it, and of course add your own code and do whatever you like to this. All right, Q3. I'm just going to say this is, oh, you know what, actually, can I just copy all of this from here and then go to Python and just paste it here. Yeah, that looks good. It says, I'm just going to get rid of all of that. So write a loop to display this. Of course, you can also press the enter key, make it a little bit more readable. All right, so a loop consists of 3 parts. You need an initialize, actually you need what we call a loop control variable. And I usually use a single letter like X or I or anything that you like. So let's just say X. And we want X to start at 1. And then we do our condition. You say while X is less than or equal to, I want to go up to 5, so I do 5. Don't forget the colon, just like an if statement. The colon tells Python that you're starting a while loop, otherwise you get an error message. And again, it indents it for you. Okay, so X is 1. 1 is less than or equal to 5, so it looks like the condition is satisfied. So I'm going to print the value of X. So what it will print is the value of X, which is 1. And then what I want to do is I want to say X is equal to X plus 1. So loop counter variable is initialized to 1. Loop condition is it repeats this process so long as X is less than or equal to 5. And then it prints it. And then you just want to make sure that before you exit the loop, before you end the loop, you have some sort of condition or statement that changes the value of X. Otherwise, you get an infinite loop, because if you don't have this statement, X will always remain at 1. 1 is always less than or equal to 5, and you just get this infinite loop. I'll show you how that works too. But let's see if this works. I think we're done with that question. That was it. So let's run it, make sure, see if we get the values 1 through 5 displayed on the screen. And sure enough, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So looks like we did this right. Now, this is what I wanted to show you. I'm just going to put a pound in front of this. That way, I'm going to comment it or ignore it. Press F5, run, and what do you get? An infinite series of 1s. The best way to kill a Python shell is to hold down the Control key and press the letter C. I believe on Macs you could just use the Apple key and press C. So then it stopped. So you go in and say, okay, well, that was my problem. Now, what do you think is going to happen if I change this to 2? Well, you're going to display 1. Then X becomes 3, so you're going to display 3. Then X becomes 5, so you're going to display 5. And then when X is 7, this loop terminates because 7 isn't less than 5. And so this way you just display the odd numbers between 1 and 5. Let's try that. So here's 1, 3, and 5. Okay? So that's a question to do this. Now, if you continue through this, right here it says add to, right here it says write a loop to calculate and display the total. Oh, sorry, actually want to do that. I want the total of these numbers. So how do I do that? Well, let me copy this, go to here. All right, I think this could get annoying, so I'll highlight and format and comment. All right, so I want to do my Q4, so pound Q4. I want to copy that text that I just had, and let's see, I could do this just to make it look better, and then I'll press enter and move this thing up a little bit. Okay, so I've got these. Of course, they're not going to compile, so highlight, format, comment out, good. Okay, so as you can see, this is really the same loop as what we just had right there, except that I need to keep track of a running total. So because I have the code already, why not copy this, go here, paste it. Now I'm going to uncomment it because I'm actually going to use this thing. So uncomment the region. All right, good. X is 1. So notice I need to go back and change this to x equal to 1. By the way, I'd probably just go back and change this to 1 also, because that answers that question. Okay, so all I need is a new variable, say total, and I initialize it to 0 because every variable has to have an initial value. I can still print it, and right before I increment, by the way, this increment step or this change step is always as the last statement of the loop, because just controls your loop. So the statement to accumulate total is to just say total equals total plus x. Pretty simple, right? X is 1, total is 0. You ask, is 1 less than 5? Yes, it is. You print x. You don't have to do this, but let's just keep it. Well, as a matter of fact, let's not print it. And total equals to total, which is 0, plus x, which is 1. So the value of total is now 1. Then x becomes 2. We come back here to the beginning of the loop. 2 is less than 5. So we say total is equal to total. Remember the old value of total? It was 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. So as you can see, I'm adding 1 plus 2 plus, and then the next one will be plus 3, and so on. So in order to verify this, I'm just going to print the value of the total, right? So print, so I say total equals 2, comma, total. So if you take the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and add them together, that's all you're going to get. You get those numbers. So let me run this thing for you and double check, make sure total is 15. If you're not sure, verify it for yourself. And that's it. I think I just wanted to keep this a little bit short. I think it was about 25 minutes. So please, I'm going to post this video up on the up on it, and then up on the Canvas. And if you have any questions at all, this is your chance to ask questions. Good day, or have a good day.